On this week's episode of the Mike Pressler Show, we break down the Bulldogs' 9-8 loss to Fairfield University. We have a chat with junior midfielder Ben Sternberg, and we take a look at the week ahead, including this weekend's game with Vermont. It's all here next on the Mike Pressler Show, here on Cox Sports Television. And welcome to Blackie's Bulldog Tavern here in Smithfield, Rhode Island, the home of the Mike Pressler Show. I'm Mike Mancuso, joined as always by the head coach of the Bryant men's lacrosse team, Mike Pressler. And Coach, good to have you back on the show. We'll start this week with some good news. After last week's game, Kevin Massa, the freshman, picking up the NEC Rookie of the Week award. How important was that to your program?
Well, Kevin's play this spring has been remarkable in his first 3 games as a Bulldog. He's at 62%. If you said to me back in the fall we'd be at 50% with a freshman in there, I would have taken it. So the credit goes to Kevin. And not only have we won faceoffs, we generated offense, as you'll see in this game, with 2 goals off the faceoff. But the credit goes to Kevin Massa. Absolutely.
So congratulations to Kevin and to your program as a whole for that. So now let's take a look at this last Saturday's game. It was against Fairfield on the road once again, this time a 9-8 loss in double overtime. Another instance of just coming up a little bit short in the end.
You know, really disappointed. We did everything possible to win that game. We were ready to play getting off the bus. We were ready to play coming out at halftime. You know, took a 6-4 lead into the half. 8-8, you know, at the end in regulation, hit the pipe. Extra man at the end, take a 45-second penalty man up into the first overtime, and don't get a shot and turn the ball over. And you know, unfortunately for us, Fairfield made the last play, and the credit goes to them.
It certainly does. So we're going to take a look at some of the highlights now from that game on Saturday against Fairfield.
This is actually, we beat them in the sub game. We call this, we sub on the fly. Colin Dunster in, a little 6-on-5 pump fake. And Colin lays a great low and away shot on their terrific goalie, Cipriano.
That had tied things up at 2-2.
You know, right off not a save, but a ground ball. Our own Ben Sternberg gets going in transition, threads a great through ball to Mason Poley, arguably one of the best offensive defensemen in the game today, and just a great goal by our guys.
It was Mason's 3rd goal of the season and gave you a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, a little extra man for us here. Actually, I believe this ball was tipped in by Cody Isdaner. You know, kind of not the prettiest extra man play you would make, but the ball went in the goal, and we'll take it.
And there you see that last little tip there by Isdaner, his 4th of the season.
You know, we do a great job here on the ride. You know, we turn over. You know, Peter McMahon flushes the goalie a little bit. Errant pass to Mason Poley, right back to Peter McMahon. And just like you draw it up, great goal by us, you know, on the ride.
And it gave you your biggest lead of the game at 6-3 at that point.
You know, great save by Jamison Love here, man down against their player, number 3, Snow. You know, they're playing a little zone for the first time, and Cody Isdaner steps up in the seam, hits an unbelievable left-handed shot to the near pipe.
And made it 7-5 at that point in the 3rd quarter.
And again, you know, we get Cody, you know, driving to his left hand. His defender goes over his head, tucks that ball high and away. You know, great shot by Cody. I think this is in overtime or at the end of the game. We get Mason Poley with his hands free, shoots it on the ground. The goalie makes a great save. I think this is the last goal of the game. You know, we mess up a switch on an exchange inside. And 2 guys go to 1. They find the open man inside. Game over.
And that's how it ended, just like that, in double overtime. Sure, it had to be frustrating. But again, it was your 2nd road trip of the season now. And last week we referred to it, when it was an upcoming trip, as one of those high school trips, down and back. How do you think it went?
You know, from a preparation point of view, we had a great week of practice. Our guys really paid attention on the bus ride down there. We got off the bus ready to play. You know, we scored 16 seconds into the game, you know, off the face-off. So no issues from my point of view in our preparedness, our leadership, and getting the guys ready. And again, just disappointed. It was, you know, Fairfield's a top 20 team, and that would have been a great boost for our team and our season to come away with an overtime win. And unfortunately, as I mentioned, that didn't happen.
Yeah. What was the crowd like and the atmosphere for the game?
It was a windy day, cold, some snow on Friday down there. So I think the wind took a lot of the, quote, the noise away from the game, but anybody who was there, it was a typical Bryant Fairfield just slugfest, very physical. One goal game at the end, as we mentioned. We were prepared for that, and like I said, they were fortunate to make the last play.
Now, one of the stars for the Bulldogs had to be your goalkeeper, Jamison Love. 19 saves on the day, including 5 in the overtime. Let's talk about him a little bit.
That's one of Jamison's certainly better games, in the last year and a half. But that's typical of Jamison, though. When Jamison's on his game, he's capable of a 15 to 20 save game. So for us to win and be successful down the road here, Jamison's got to play like that. So fortunately for us, going into Vermont now, our next game, Jamison certainly leads the Fairfield game on a very high note.
And now offensively, one of your biggest studs to date has been Cody Isdaner, the transfer out of Wagner. 4 goals against Fairfield. What do you think of his play so far?
He's exactly what we needed. A big, powerful left-handed player. Lacrosse is a right-handed game. Eventually the ball gravitates to the left side, and you need a young man who can deposit that ball, and Cody's been terrific for us, as a transfer junior.
And now let's talk about the game more specifically. You guys had a 3-goal lead with about 31 seconds left in the second quarter. Then they were able to get a late tally. What did you think of your overall performance in the first half?
Performance went great up until the last 30 seconds. They had the ball on offense. They called timeout. We went zone for the first time. And one of our defensemen got caught ball watching on the backside. They beat us on a sneak to score the 4th goal, and then we fouled them. So now they carried a man-up opportunity, a man-down opportunity for us, certainly into halftime in the third quarter. So, fortunately for us, we kind of killed the penalty in the third, but that could have been an unbelievable momentum swing if we gave up a man-down goal beginning of the third quarter.
Absolutely. And now you guys are actually outscored 4-2 in the second half, but Cody Isdaner was able to tie it with about 5.5 minutes, and then Colin Dunster hit the post in the closing seconds of regulation there. So, did they make any adjustments to what you guys were doing offensively in the first half and the second half, or was it just missing by inches again?
I thought it was, we didn't do a good job valuing the ball on offense. A couple failed clears at some key times, and I just thought we could have played better in the box 6-on-6 offensively in the second half. But lacrosse is a game of inches. It's a pipe, it's a save. It's a tip ball. Their 8th goal, actually, we tipped a pass right into 44 stick for the go-ahead goal. Yeah. So it's that. It's a game of inches. It's one play down the stretch, and one of these days we'll figure out a way to make that play.
And now some of the things you had to be pleased with, though. Ground balls, you won 38-27. Penalty kill, a perfect 4 of 4, and the man up, 1 of 3.
We out ground balled them. We got after them. That was a point of emphasis. Again, great job facing off. Our man up opportunity. We were 1 for 3, but in the biggest man up of the game, that 45-second into overtime was the one we would love to have back. That was a huge turnover and a huge opportunity for us to win the game.
Right, and now we look at some of the things that need to be improved a little bit more. A couple of failed clears at some key times.
Jamison going for a home run. In lacrosse, a goalie gets really pumped up on a big save, and his emotions, all of a sudden that outlet pass goes flying over, our defender's head. And Jay's has got to work on hitting singles in the clearing game as opposed to home runs. And he knows that. He'll do a much better job this week against Vermont.
Right. And now looking at the game as a whole, how would you grade your team's performance on a letter scale?
Effort, A+. Execution, B-. I think there's some things mentally that we just don't do consistently enough. But overall, we're disappointed with the outcome, not disappointed with the effort at all.
All right. Well, 9-8 double overtime loss puts you guys at 1-2 heading into the Vermont game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. When we return, we will have junior midfielder Ben Sternberg of the Bryant Bulldogs coming up here on the Mike Pressler Show on Cox Sports Television.